Coming up on Cronkite News, Valley High School students travel to D.C. in hopes of saving sacred Apache land. We'll take you inside the fight over Oak Flat.
Plus, as the remaining ballots are tabulated, we take a look at voter turnout and how it may have impacted races this election season.
And later, a Nitro Rallycross driver is repping his country from miles away.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Maddie Freeze.
And I'm Ryan Tismaneski. Thank you for joining us.
For the past 5 days, students from 2 Arizona high schools have been in Washington lobbying lawmakers to pass the Save Oak Flat Act.
It's a bill that would halt development of the Resolution copper mine in southeastern Arizona. Cronkite News reporter John Brown has their story from our Washington bureau.
To many, the fight over Oak Flat is a fight about whether copper mines should be allowed on sacred Apache lands. To Brophy College Preparatory alum Aiden Parr, it's that and more.
This right now, what we're experiencing is like modern colonization.
He says that because the Resolution copper mine plan for Oak Flat would eventually destroy the 2,400-acre site that is sacred to local tribes, Parr and other students in the Native American Club at Brophy and Xavier College Prep have been fighting for the last 2 years to stop the mine.
I do want their support, like bipartisan support even. Like this is even just like a Democrat or Republican thing. It's just a human thing.
But Republicans have taken up support of the Resolution copper mine, which could create jobs and eventually produce up to 40 billion pounds of copper. Copper, they say, will be needed for the green energy future demanded by Democrats.
That the mining required to produce electric cars is a threat to the environment, then you are also admitting that the electric cars that require it are a threat to the environment. Can't you see how foolish and self-destructive and absurdly contradictory these policies have become?
Arizona Representative Raul Grijalva says that Oak Flat is different and needs to be protected. But Grijalva, a Democrat who introduced the Save Oak Flat Act, concedes that it may not be the answer. The bill has yet to get a House vote and is unlikely to pass in the Senate.
I don't think the Senate would deal with it, and they haven't. And that's unfortunate. And I would wish, at least one of our senators would raise it.
With just a few weeks left of Congress, odds for passage of the Save Oak Flat Act are steep. But students here are optimistic and will continue fighting regardless of what happens. In Washington, John Brown, Cronkite News.
A federal judge on Tuesday struck down a rule that made it easier for the government to expel migrants. The rule is called Title 42. The Trump administration first created it to expel migrants during the COVID-19 pandemic. President Biden has since used it to address an increase in immigration at the southern border. A federal judge in D.C. struck down Title 42, saying that it violates the Administrative Procedure Act. Now, all migrants arrested at the border must be processed under immigration law. The Biden administration has requested a stay on the ruling.
Over a week after counties first started posting election results, 2 high-profile races remain too close to call.
The race for Attorney General is almost certainly headed for an automatic recount as Democrat Chris Mays and Republican Abe Hamadeh remain separated by just a slim margin. The same can be said for the race for Superintendent of Public Instruction. While some votes are still being counted, a number of organizations are claiming credit for the election wins. We have team coverage this evening on voter turnout in Arizona.
Alyssa Munoz is tracking the number of Latino voters this election, and Sydney Whitty is following the progressive vote. First, let's head out to Alyssa.
Today, organizations discuss voter turnout in Arizona. Organizations such as No Leo and Mi Familia Vota say Latinos made a big impact this year.
Chicanos por la Causa created a campaign called Latino Loud to encourage Latinos to go out and vote for the 2022 midterm election.
Our time. Let's go out and vote. Nosotros nacimos para votar.
Today, they said it was a big success. In Arizona, the Latino vote was projected to be over 600,000. Although the ballots are still being counted, Chicanos por la Causa and Naleo released a preliminary number.
We're seeing 400,000 Latino votes cast, which more than 50,000 additional Latino ballots than the previous midterm.
But what we know is that this election, certainly for Latino voters, has once again showcased the diversity and the impact of the Latino vote in the nation's Latino electorate, certainly.
According to Joseph Garcia, they collected data from different sources, including last names, addresses, and focused on concentrated Latino areas in Arizona. In Phoenix, Alyssa Munoz, Cronkite News.
In addition to the Latino vote, a number of progressive organizations worked together to try to flip Arizona. Sidney Whitty found out their hopes for the future now that Arizona has a Democratic governor for the first time in 13 years.
The groups reached out to voters in a number of ways, including knocking on 3.6 million doors and made over 100,000 calls. They also had over 12 million digital impressions in order to get the vote out.
And what we proved is que sí se pudo.
That's Alejandra Gomez with the organization Lucha, saying the words, "We can do it." Lucha, along with Arizona Wins and the Arizona Education Association, spoke outside the Capitol today to talk about how their efforts were able to help elect multiple Democrats into office, including the governor. The organizations say they have worked for the past decade to try to flip the political infrastructure in Arizona. These organizations hope that elected officials work to improve housing, jobs, and the economy in the state.
We delivered the message and our community members answered the call. They're ready for a new Arizona, and what we have seen is that the politic of division and hate and xenophobia no longer reigns here.
Despite some wins at the state office level, both the Arizona House and Senate remain in Republican control. And Republicans flipped 2 congressional seats in the state, keeping Arizona firmly in the purple. In Phoenix, Sidney Whitty, Cronkite News.
One Valley School District is making a big change to their traditional school model. Liberty Elementary School District will now have 4-day school weeks. The change was approved at a school board meeting Monday and will go into effect next year. The district says it's been surveying families and school staff for months, and that much of that support comes from its desire to save money. The plan came about after a failed budget override, but the district hopes a shorter week will also help retain teachers during a nationwide shortage.
Airlines have refunded more than $600 million to passengers for canceled and changed flights since the start of the pandemic. But this week, the Department of Transportation announced a crackdown on 6 airline carriers they say ignored refund rules. The department is issuing more than $7 million in fines against the 6 airlines for extreme delays in providing refunds to passengers. These fines bring the total for this year to $8.1 million. That's a record in civil penalties for the Transportation Department's Consumer Protection Program. Most of the fines went to foreign-based airlines, and Frontier was the only U.S. carrier fined. Meanwhile, airlines are still struggling to keep up with the rapid increase for air travel.
Still ahead on Cronkite News, 10 years after being retired, a Space Shuttle's exhibit is getting a makeover. We'll take a look at the exhibit's unique setup.
And we're staying sunny, dry, and cool. However, winds are picking up going into the evening. I'll have the latest in a couple minutes in weather.
Right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge?
You can do anything.
History is today. Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just going to love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
Evil can find its roots so easily in an English village.
The landscape of criminal investigation.
Murder, almost certainly.
Modern policing methods.
We endeavor to do our best.
We're working hard to solve this case.
And to make sure justice gets done.
It's a new adventure.
And the rest, as they say, is
mystery.
I can hardly wait.
Art was one of the powers that made life life. I think we all believed that.
This is
is a real life story of a real live person.
This was my only connection to my culture.
Fight the power.
Our stories deserve to be heard.
You're passionate and you respect your heritage. That is a perfect recipe.
Now is the time for the Reformation. Now is the time to rebuild the nation.
That's amazing.
You're making me cry.
Some girls can go out there and just steal a spotlight.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Everyone has something to contribute to humanity. The arts are the thing that does that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
It's another cool day in the Valley today with temps in the 60s.
Evan List joins us from the Cronkite News Weather Center. Evan, how long are we going to keep seeing these temps?
Probably for a while now, Ryan. Well, you can see here's a map of our jet stream. This is the dividing line between cold air from the north and warm air from the south. And we're on the cold side right now. Plus, we have very cool air coming down from the northern reaches of Canada into the western United States. That's why it's been so cool recently. Taking a quick break from the temperatures and looking at our wind story, we've had some pretty high wind speeds, especially in the afternoon around Arizona today, especially in the high country. Some wind advisories up there. The winds will die down going into the evening hours and will be less tomorrow. It is ASU homecoming week. I know we have a lot of Sun Devils in the Valley. If you're getting out to enjoy any of those events tonight, it'll be 65 degrees at 6 p.m. and even 60 degrees at 8 p.m. After 8 p.m., we start to go into the upper 50s, so it's going to get a little chilly after that. Taking a look at our high temperatures for tomorrow, it's going to be a lot of the same type of weather we've been having recently here, with the lower deserts being in the upper 60s to low 70s, and then the high terrain 50s and mid 40s. In terms of what you'll be experiencing when you walk out the door tomorrow or when you wake up, it's going to be cold. Like, as I said, we've been experiencing recently here 13 degrees in Flagstaff, 27 degrees in Page, and mid 40s for the lower deserts. I've said it already. Now we have a pretty stagnant weather system, so we're going to be having a lot of the same weather in place. Breezes calm down after Thursday and Friday, but low 70s into the foreseeable future and very dry. For now, I'm Evan List in the Cronkite News Weather Center.
Thanks, Evan. NASA has finally launched its Artemis 1 mission on a historic journey to the moon.
The spacecraft took off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida just before midnight. This launch comes after 2 canceled attempts in August. The unmanned test mission is headed for deep space, going on a 25-and-a-half-day journey around the moon. The capsule is intended to come back to Earth and parachute to a splashdown landing in the Pacific Ocean on December 11th. The mission marks the beginning of the space agency's Artemis program in its plan to eventually return astronauts to the moon for the first time in 50 years.
NASA retired all of its space shuttles more than a decade ago. The Space Shuttle Endeavour was retired to the California Science Center in Los Angeles, where it went on display to the public.
Now, something big is on the horizon, and Cronkite News reporter Haley Forbes tells us what that is.
For 10 years, the California Science Center has housed NASA's Endeavour space shuttle, but now its exhibit is getting a makeover. The space shuttle will be placed in ready-to-launch position, which will include the full stack, the twin boosters, the external fuel tank, and even access up to the top of the shuttle through the launch gantry.
Our plan is to open one of the payload bay doors and then to provide a launch gantry. A launch gantry is that steel structure that goes vertically beside a rocket when you see it on the launch pad. So you'll be able to ascend that launch gantry in an elevator, and you can view the stack from virtually every elevation.
This process is projected to take about 3 years to complete. It's a crucial component to the new Samuel Ocean Air and Space Museum here in LA. Guests will be able to see what the whole package looks like.
I think it would be good because you could see all angles of it, and now you can't see the top, so then you could see the top when it's upright, and it'll be probably a little better.
A space shuttle that successfully completed 25 missions and made it across the streets of Los Angeles. The Endeavour has one final mission: to inspire the rising generation of space exploration.
I came here with my 9-year-old kid, so giving him a view into the amazing things that humans have accomplished. I think that's inspiring for anybody, and just having something so close and I guess tangible to grasp like the reality of it, I think it's inspiring, like I said, for anybody.
Space Shuttle Endeavour's ready-to-launch position will be the only authentic display of this kind in the world. The museum hopes to inspire the next generation to achieve new heights and take space exploration even further. In Los Angeles, Haley Forbes, Cronkite News.
Can't make it to California? The Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson has a Space Shuttle solid rocket booster on display, and that booster used to belong to the California Science Center.
I'm Emily Bernstein, and coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. How one retired baseball player is ensuring he stays in the game.
Right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge?
You can do anything. History is today. Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just gonna love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
Evil can find its roots so easily in an English village.
The landscape of criminal investigation.
Murder, almost certainly.
Modern policing methods.
We endeavour to do our best.
We're working hard to solve this case.
And to make sure justice gets done.
It's a new adventure. And the rest, as they say, is mystery.
I can hardly wait.
Art was one of the powers that made life life. I think we all believed that.
I'm gonna kick down every single door. I'm gonna show you what you never ever seen before. So come show you, I'm gonna show you.
This is a real life story of a real live person.
This was my only connection to my culture.
Fight the power.
Our stories deserve to be heard.
You're passionate and you respect your heritage. That is a perfect recipe.
Now is the time for the Reformation. Now is the time to rebuild the nation.
That's amazing.
You're making me cry.
Some girls can go out there and just steal a spotlight.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Everyone has something to contribute to humanity. The arts are the thing that does that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Emily Bernstein. The Suns are taking on the defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors tonight in the second of 4 regular season matchups. Phoenix took the first game where emotions were running high with multiple technical fouls and an ejection. But the Suns have struggled as of late, dropping 4 of their last 6 games while battling injuries. And it won't get any easier facing a Warriors team led by Steph Curry.
Just Steph being Steph, man, just so tough, makes unbelievable shots. We're just regular to him. Picks defenses apart. He is who he is, and he just keeps getting better every year. What makes them so good and him so freaking incredible.
Chris Paul is questionable, but will likely remain out due to a heel injury. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. Nitro Rallycross made its second appearance in the Valley, and one driver made a significant name for himself. Cronkite News reporter Victoria Samuels has more on the Jamaican champion.
Fraser McConnell came into last weekend's race in Phoenix on a roll. The Jamaican driver won round 4 of Nitro Rallycross in LA and was looking to make another run in round 5 and 6 at Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park. The second-year Nitro driver has competed against racing greats such as Chase Elliott, Travis Pastrana, and Austin Cindric.
No, I think the series has a lot of potential to be massive. It's limitless to what this sport can be. You know, manufacturers involved with electric cars. and hopefully I'm just going to be I'm going to be with Nitro for as long as I can.
McConnell is the youngest Rally Jamaica champion and made his Rallycross debut in 2018 in the ARX2 series, which he won in 2019. Eventually, McConnell made the jump to electric cars and now competes in Nitro RX's Elite E-Class.
He won the ARX2 championship, and I think he made his name. He went from there to supercars, and they're taking him serious. It's no longer some island boy driving. He's racing.
McConnell has traveled around the world proudly representing the black, gold, and green colors of his island nation.
My favourite thing about it is how much he loves Jamaica and how much Jamaica loves him. It is a smaller country, and yeah, there aren't loads of racing drivers, like there weren't loads of bobsleigh teams in Jamaica. But that thing where someone goes, oh, he can do it, and that inspires, I think, kids to go, well, maybe I can do it as well.
Despite being over 2,000 miles away from home, Fraser McConnell takes Jamaica with him everywhere he goes. At every single event he races in, Team Fraz sets up a tent like this with t-shirts, flags, and wristbands, all Jamaican themed and free for fans.
It's not common at all, and I mean, the support we get back home is incredible, and I think that definitely motivates Fraser to keep pushing and keep flying the flag high.
To be able to represent Jamaica and all the brands involved on such a high level is amazing, and living the dream.
At the end of the weekend, McConnell finished 6th in round 5 and 5th in round 6. With 3 more rounds left in the series, spirits are still high as Team Fraz is heading to Quebec in January for round 7. In Chandler, Victoria Samuels, Cronkite News.
The Nitro Rallycross Series finale will be in March of 2023 in a city that is to be determined. For Jake Elmore, the Arizona Fall League is an opportunity to return to his roots. And as Cronkite News reporter Danny Maha explains, Elmore's return allows him to stay involved in the game he loves.
Surprise Saguaro's hitting coach, Jake Elmore, is back on familiar grounds, having played at Arizona State before embarking on a 13-year professional career, playing for 12 different teams.
You get settled in a place, you get settled with your teammates, and then all of a sudden you get a call that you've been traded or claimed off waivers or whatever the case may be. It's definitely takes some adjusting, but it's also exciting in the same regard, knowing that another team, is coming after you.
Playing for so many different teams means meeting a lot of different people, including Ruben Gotay, one of the Saguaro bench coaches who played a season with Elmore at AAA Louisville.
We got along pretty good. It was for a brief moment, but we help each other. We help each other, on and off the field, defensive-wise, offensive-wise. So it's a guy that you can go to and listen to and talk about baseball.
While trying to return to the field from a hamstring injury last year, Elmore knew his playing career would soon come to a close, but he also knew that he wanted to transition into coaching.
The injury just kind of expedited those thoughts, I would say, and it was tough to come back from. And then when I was let go by Philly, it just made my decision for me, and then I immediately shifted my focus to the coaching side.
From a standout career as a Sun Devil to a prolonged professional career, and then returning to Arizona where it all began, Elmore is ready to take a swing at the next chapter in his baseball career. In Peoria, Danny Maha, Cronkite News.
Jake Elmore will continue his career in the game of baseball and use this fall league season to learn the ropes of coaching at a high level. That's it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Ryan.
Still ahead on Cronkite News, the holidays are right around the corner and you can celebrate with a world of color starting this week.
It's prime time on your time. Watch Prime Afternoons every weekday on Arizona PBS. Did you miss a show in the evening? Then catch up on Prime Afternoons, your favorite dramas.
No more bloody heroics.
Antiques Roadshow.
Really?
Nature and Nova.
It's time to reintroduce some wonder into this miracle of nature.
All of the best from PBS on Prime Afternoons. Weekdays starting at 1:30, only on Arizona PBS. When you support Arizona PBS, you plant a seed. Seeds that provide educational outreach in our community. Seeds that put our digital resources to work. Seeds that foster the trusted news coverage you expect from PBS. And seeds that continue the amazing PBS programs you love. But our garden can't keep growing without your support. Visit our website to see all the ways you can help our garden grow. Plant a seed with Arizona PBS today.
It's beginning to look a lot like the holidays.
And starting this week, you can celebrate with a drive-through holiday light show. The World of Illumination is bringing 3 light shows to the Valley. Tempe Diablo Stadium and Six Flags Hurricane Harbor are 2 of them starting tonight. Those shows will run through January 1st. In Glendale, Desert Diamond Casino is hosting an Enchanted Safari starting next week. Each car will have to pay about $40 for a 30-minute drive-through show. Thousands of LED lights accompany animated displays and synchronized music to celebrate the holiday season. That's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.